Hey there and good afternoon. It's lunchtime. And here we are. Juliet and I are here to join you to go over our book, The Four Agreements. My name is Allison Mancini and I am a holistic nutritionist. And I'm joined here today with my amazing partner in crime.
Hello, everyone. I am Julietta, the Magical PT, and super excited to discuss today the fourth agreement. And I hope some of you can join us live in the show. Allison just put the link. If you click on that link down below, you can, that will get you on StreamYard, and we'll add you in the discussion here so you can talk about always doing your best.
Yes, that is the fourth agreement. I like, though, towards the end of the chapter, he made me feel better about the whole thing when he said, you know, some days are better than others, right? Some days are really, really good, your best, like your best, and other days are not quite as your best.
Right, and that it doesn't serve you to do more than your best because that just messes you up too. And that, like, your best isn't perfect. I always need to remind myself that.
Yes.
The best isn't perfect. Nothing has to be perfect.
I agree wholeheartedly. So you want to dive in or you want me to dive in?
Well, sure. What do you got?
Well, I really love how he talks about, I'm looking back, you know, my underlining and notes. So he tells a story. I love this in the beginning. He tells a story about the Buddhist temple, the one that asks his master, if he meditates for 4 days, how long will it take me to transcend? And the master says, if you meditate 4 hours a day, perhaps you'll transcend in 10 years. And then he says, oh, I want to do it faster than then. How about if I meditate 8 hours a day? And then the master says, it's going to take you 20 years. So it's going to take even longer. And he's like, I don't understand. Why does it take me longer? And I love this reply. It says, you are not here to sacrifice your joy or your life. You are here to live, to be happy, and to love. If you can do your best in 2 hours of meditation, but you spend 8 hours instead, you'll only grow tired, miss the point, and you won't enjoy your life. Do your best, and perhaps you will learn that no matter how long you meditate, you can live, love, and be happy. And I love that for us type A perfectionist people. Such a good point. Like, just do it. Have imperfect action, get it done, because you are here to live your life, to enjoy, to love, to have fun, to have relationships. And if we're spending all of our times being super type A and anal about everything we do, then we're not really enjoying it, are we? So I thought that was very eye-opening.
Yeah, the one I find myself not like highlighting stuff. I haven't highlighted anything in this book. I don't know why. But to make my life easier, I took a picture of, I loved his quote, our normal human tendency is to enjoy life, to play, to explore, to be happy, and to love. And like, that's what's important. And everything else is just a means to get there. And I think in our busy world, we lose sight of the be happy, the enjoy, we always put it after everything else, and we can't.
I agree very much. So, this was an interesting chapter for me because being a type A, super over the top personality where I feel like I always have to do everything perfectly. But it was an interesting take on it that yes, you should be doing your best, but I take it as also give yourself grace that there are going to be days where you just can't. It doesn't, maybe you're not feeling well, or maybe you had some major life event happen, or some, major event. And sometimes your best isn't always going to be like way up here, but you still need to do your best in the context of what's happening around you, I guess is the best way, right, to look at it. I found that really interesting. I don't know. I love this book.
I also found myself feeling like I was rereading Spiritual Economics. Like some of his points were like so the same. I was like, yeah. And that gets mentioned a lot, that spiritual truths are spiritual truths across the board. And so you'll hear them in all different texts, just written slightly differently, but the meaning behind them is the same.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's what I got to say.
We're a few words today, Julietta. We can usually go on and on.
I know. I've had one of those days where I've been running since the moment I woke up. I'm like, I need to catch my breath. So I'm doing the best I can do today.
Okay, so I have a point. I know I am too, but I do have a point that he came about. And so what I found really interesting, and this can kind of apply to all kinds of things in our life, was if you're always doing your best over and over, you become, as he says, a master of transformation. Practice makes the master. By doing your best, you become a master. So when you think about it, and I found this really great perspective, everything you've ever learned how to do, you've learned through repetition. You learn to write, to drive, and even to walk by repetition. So you have to remember you're a master of speaking your language because you practiced it and you repeated it and you heard it over and over. So we need to remember that when I thought about sometimes, we have these, did I freeze? Yeah. I know, it's just happening. It's okay. Sometimes we have these really, really big goals. Like Juliet and I are starting a mastermind group, and the mastermind group is really just to help women be accountable and achieve the goals that they've been trying to achieve. But I think it's something to remember that when you're going for those goals, you have to be doing some repeated steps over and over as part of that process to get there. And we have to remember that repetition is what got us where we are in a lot of ways now. So you have to, when you're feeling like, I guess what I'm trying to say is when you're feeling like you're doing that mundane, you're doing the same little things, like when I go and I post to our podcast and it feels like repetitious, like I'm doing the same thing, but there's a means to an end, right? Ends means to an end, right? Is that how you say it? But so, I think we have to remind ourselves that it's those little things that got us to where we are now. And we have to continue to do those little things. And that goes into with being your best. You just keep repeating it. You get better and better at it. You get a new job. You don't know how to do it. You learn it. There's a learning curve and you get better and better and you continue to grow and get better. We get better at our podcasts every time. We get better, right? So, it's everything to be repeating.
Well, and then it's also the 4 agreements. You get to practice the 4 agreements. Just because you know what they are doesn't mean that you're going to instantly know how to do them.
Right.
Perfectly. You get to practice, and then you catch yourself when you're not. And, when you're not doing it, that's like an opportunity to learn, like, oh, this happened and I lost track of whichever agreement it was that you weren't following through with. But you always just do the best that you can. That's all we can do every day.
Well, you know what I think is cool is that, now I just totally forgot what I was going to say. Dang it, that CRS. I hate that.
It's all good. I really enjoyed the chapter on freedom as well. I think that we have a strange concept of what freedom is, and this is something too that I've thought a lot about during the pandemic is there's all this stuff going on out there, but my choice in how I react to it affects how I perceive, just watching some people that just seem like devastated by this whole thing. And you get to examine everything that's happening in your life and choose how you respond to it, how you react to it. And that is what's going to create your reality. So like everybody thinks like our reality has been created by us, by everything that the governments and whatnot have put as restrictions for us. And, you know, we're losing our freedoms because of this pandemic. Mm-hmm. And it's really, it's only if you see it that way, and you can choose to see it differently. There was another line where he was like, I think he said, suffering is a choice. Happiness is a choice and suffering is a choice. Mm-hmm. And because there's always going to be stuff that we don't like out there in the world. Mm-hmm. And it's not so much that thing that's out there, but how we react to that thing. Mm-hmm. And are we reacting or are we responding? You know,
I had such a hard time with that as when I was younger, about having a choice of suffering or a choice of being happy. I can remember my mom having this conversation with me. I'd be like, "Are you kidding me?" I'm like, "I can't control what everybody else is doing around me," and that's the whole point. You just need to worry about you and control how you're reacting to it. You're right. You can't control everybody else around you, but you can certainly control how you react to it. And I think it comes down to, it's like you said, that collective conscious, you know, collective conscious can change things. We just need to be looking and viewing things in the right way, and not this woe is me situation.
Stop playing victim.
Yeah. Huge.
Because as we learned, our words create our reality. They are mm-hmm. the spells that we put out there. And, if you don't like what your life is presenting to you, you get to change yourself. Change yourself, change your life.
See, I love these conversations. They're great for not only for our audience, but for you and I. Like, I always learn so much every time we talk about it.
Now, and this is like, you know, it's funny when we got on, you know, before we got on, I was talking like today has been already a crazy day, and like looking forward to what I have the rest of the day. It's crazy as well. Mm-hmm. But sitting here, getting into this conversation, talking about the 4 agreements, like I'm much calmer now.
It's a nice little break. And by the way, that one doTERRA oil is sold out already.
Which one? Midnight Forest?
That one. I'm like, what is up? Yes, total segue there. Sorry, we should not go into this right now.
But it's all good. Hey, essential oils are great, and if anybody wants any, you can talk to me and I'll get you some.
Or to help you focus too, because apparently I'm squirreling all over the place today.
So cool. So we're going to create another poll in our group to figure out what our, what month are we going into? August. What our August book club book is going to be. So, and if anybody has some suggestions, put them in the comments and we'll be happy to consider them. And Allison and I were discussing, basically, we're through the book. There's just one chapter on prayers that we haven't read, but I don't think we need to have a book club meeting for the prayer chapter of this book. So we're not going to have a video next week. We're not going live here next week. And we'd love to hear, like, those of you who read the 4 agreements, what stood out for you most for the book? What lesson did you learn from reading the book? We'd love to hear from you, and also know who's reading with us. I know there's a lot of you out there reading, but we're not necessarily hearing from all of you. So mm-hmm. We'd love to hear from you.
That's what I was going to say, was that you were made a comment about how, if you don't always do your best, that you can always try again. And that was one of the things he talks about in the book, is every day is a new day. Every day is a new day to start. So the 4 agreements are not taking anything personal, not having no expectations, and being impeccable with your word. And even if you're not doing your best you always have the next day or the next moment to try to do your best in those areas. And I love that he says that. So for me, I journal every day, and I write those 4 agreements are part of my journaling, because my journaling starts out, I do a little bit of gratitude, and then I do some things that I've accomplished. And then I write down the 4 agreements as a reminder for myself to practice those every day, because I am not perfect, and I don't always have great days, and there's days that I forget or I don't do a good job of it. So it's a good reminder for me to always work towards that, because it's a goal that I'm working towards. So
You're perfectly imperfect.
thanks. But it's a really hard thing. Like always, like always being impeccable with your word, especially if you got a lot going on, like most of our audience does. And a lot of you have children, small children. Even if your kids are adults, you're not always impeccable with your word when you're in a really stressful moment with your children or your spouse or your partner or your business. You know, there's times things come out of our mouth that we wish hadn't. So I've been really trying to work on getting better and being the best I can at being impeccable with my word, and really thinking about before I say things. Like apparently I wasn't so impeccable all the time during this live, because I've been all over the place.
And we're doing the best we can.
That's right. It's Monday.
It is.
Yay.
Awesome.
All right. So yeah, guys, check out our group. We're going to put up a poll to vote on our next book. And like Julietta said, if you have suggestions, let us know. And have a great week next week, because we won't see you, but we'll see you the week after that. I think.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, after that. All right. See y'all later.
I'll be coming live from the woods of Wisconsin.
You will be, lucky you. It'll be like 20 degrees cooler too. Woo.
Hopefully I'll have enough signal up there to get through.
Or it'll be me doing the book club by myself. So please, somebody join us. That would be wonderful. All right.
All right. Have a magical day, everyone.
You too.